Okay, wait, I'm gonna ask you guys a really personal question, and you don't have to answer it. There have been so many times where I've been like, mom and dad are gonna break up. They're not gonna make it through this rough patch. And I know that marriage is incredibly hard. Like it's you have to actually like defy the odds basically for a marriage to work because it's so exceptional, especially in America. And so I want to know, how do you guys stay the course and like stay together despite how hard moments have been? Hello, namaste. Welcome to the Zarna Garg family podcast. Four Gargs are in the house. And today's topic is going to make you sad. It's going to make you happy. It's going to make you heated. You're going to have an opinion on it. You've been through it. You've put others through it. Let's get right into it. Let me introduce my family right away. My husband of 26 years, Wall Street veteran, Shalab Garg. My daughter, who recently graduated college, Zoya Garg. My son, who is in college, Brij Garg. Today's topic is breakups. How do we break up from people in life, in love, in relationships, in employment situations? You know the situation is not good and you need to walk away from it. Is it easy to do? Is it hard to do? How are we doing it? Are we sad when we do it? Do we have any regrets? Does anybody have a good breakup story that they want to start with first?
It is the hardest thing to do, I have to say. It is truly, truly, really, really hard. I broke up with my best friend of 30 years, maybe about 2 years ago when he left. He worked for me for 10 of those 30 years, worked with me as well and worked for me as well. And maybe 2 years ago, and I knew him all the way from high school. Only best friend I've ever had. And I have to say, I've missed him a lot over the last 2 years.
How did you know you needed to walk away?
Because it was toxic, like I couldn't get away, after working for a long time. He worked for me and then he left a couple of times and I brought him back when he needed to. And it just felt like becoming a relationship which was one way in nature, where I was just giving and giving and giving and felt somewhat used. But at the same time, outside of my wife, he was the only keeper of my history, right? If I wanted to talk about a random event that occurred in high school, the girl I fell in love with in high school, the girl I, or the exam that I took or did poorly or well, or the comments I made, he was the only one, less like your mom is for the 26 years that have been married, right? So she's the caretaker of my history. So to lose that history all of a sudden is really, really hard, very hard.
Wow. I never
Mm.
thought of it that way.
Mm. Not too many people are caretakers of your history, right? In other words, it's either your spouse or it's your really close friend. And men don't have group friendships. Like they may hang out with buddies, but they don't have, at least I don't think, friendships in the way that women have, where they would be friends with their kids and they'll be friends with their women live a lot more wholesome life, right? If, for example, I was to go away, nothing will change in your mom's life. She will live an even better, more involved, engaged life. But if your mom was to go away, my life will fall apart because she's only a caretaker of my history. Yeah, but life is more than just watching each other's history. What do you care? At the end of the day, what do you care who's taking care of your history at all? Like, do you really care? Because of the rest of the life being very lonely for a man, which is not the case for a woman, right? You derive joy and pleasure from so many different things as a woman. And I see that in my consulting. I consult with women of all age groups. In the 40 that I've done, I've consulted with age groups of 19 to 73-year-old women. And it's consistent in that entire lifespan that they live a very, very wholesome life that has many, many vantage points where they're connected. And I've also consulted with men who are of the similar age groups, and they are not living that same life. So hence, a caretaker of their history becomes an important one.
I think friendship breakups are sometimes harder than romantic breakups.
Explain that.
A lot of people, movies and TV shows make such spectacles of romantic breakups because there's such heightened emotions and there's such a buildup and there's such a, but friendship breakups are sneaky and usually they last a lot longer than. Are you on your phone, Mom? I'm taking a photo. Can you guys stop calling me out? Can you guys stop? I am the one who's organizing this entire podcast. I'm not on my phone goofing around. I'm trying to show somebody something and I'm doing something. Like if you're talking, you can't keep talking if I touch my phone. You do this every time. Like, who put this whole podcast together today at noon while I'm on the road also doing 4 shows? Who put it together?
You put it together.
Okay, so do you think I'm locked into my own project then?
We're used to calling each other out for things on the podcast. I
No,
thought it
but
could be
you
a fun
guys, like,
moment.
literally, if I touch the phone, you think I'm chatting with somebody. I wanted to show Brij what the screen looks like when he is not locked in on the camera. That's why I
What are you
picked the
talking?
phone up.
Hold on. So it's okay. It's okay for. It's
I'm
not okay
trying
for
to give
Didi to
you
call you
feedback
out.
without
It's
calling
not.
you out the way your sister just
It's
called me
not.
out.
You are calling me out. We can see your phone.
But
You were going like
I
this.
didn't bring it up. Brij, I didn't do that. You listen, you guys want to do this without me, go ahead and do it without
No,
me.
Zarna, nobody
I'm
wants
teetering
can
on
do
the
it
edge
without you.
here. You guys with your aggression, literally, all I did was pick up the phone so I could text Brij a photo of what it looks like when he's not looking at the camera. Because it's hard to tell. And you, because I touched it for a second, then do you have no context? I have no reason right now to be sitting here and doing any of this. But I organized it. I followed through on it. I made sure everybody is locked in. I also made sure your brother, who's out taking an exam, is fed and driven to his exam. And
How does
instead
that
of saying,
even?
okay, maybe mom has something for a split second, it was a second. I picked the camera up to take a photo and I'm going to send it. I'm going to show it to people on this YouTube why I needed to show it to my son.
Okay, can we get back to the topic now, Zoya? Can you apologize? Because clearly she did not mean to.
Apologize. Apologize for what? There's no apology necessary. Mom is completely lashing out over
I am
nothing.
running an
We
entire
literally-
podcast
We
in
literally
addition to
have called each other out on this podcast. Every single person has called out each other on this podcast for every single thing. Why is it now when she calls you out this one moment that you're like completely losing everything?
because not having a single solitary moment of context is important.
Mom,
Your mother,
it's
like
a
every other
joke.
mother,
She's not
is
saying, Mom, you're not
organizing. I have
contributing enough
5
for this
roles on this
podcast.
podcast. I don't just get to show up the last 3 minutes and start talking. There are 15
You-
other things I do to
Do
make
you
this
think that
podcast.
Do you think that Didi was trying to suppose that you don't contribute enough to this podcast, or that you're
No,
not?
she just thinks in her mind, if I'm touching the phone, I'm on
It's a
Instagram texting with
joke.
my friends. This phone is how I live my life. This phone is how I run my entire existence. This
We
phone is how I
know.
coordinate your
Nobody is
brother getting
questioning
here
what
and
you're
getting there and
doing.
all of that.
It is a joke, Mom. Take a chill pill, please.
All right, can we get back to the topic of breakups? I feel like my entire monologue around the breakup just completely got lost.
It's her. It's not me. I was listening.
Okay. I mean, Zarna even knows the circumstances surrounding that breakup. I think Zoya and Brij do to some extent as well. But to get back to it, to Zoya's point,
So you're telling me that you want this recorder of history, whatever that role you've created,
Hmm.
over the fact that somebody is using you continuously for 30 years.
well, I did break up, right? I have not had a
How
relationship.
did you break up with him?
The last time that he left to join another employer, I just stopped talking to him. Now that doesn't mean that I blocked him. I respond to texts once in a while, but no emotional, intimate conversations of any kind anymore.
So you never had a direct closure conversation.
I think that the lack of engagement automatically delivers the point, right? Because
I agree.
if you just talk a couple of times a year, whereas you always talk like 3 times a week, now all of a sudden it becomes clear to the other party that that you're not interested in an ongoing relationship.
Brij,
in the
I
way
think
that it
it's
was.
unusual that you agree there, because I would say that more people in our generation are of the belief that you need to have some long conversation at the end and figure out logistics, and there's
Not
this
for a friendship, though.
not
For
for
a
a
relationship,
friendship.
maybe. Not for a friendship. A friendship, it doesn't really matter. I think as you get older, friendships will start becoming a lot less necessary and a lot more like you kind of just choose your 1 or 2 people that you surround you that you really, really like being around, and that's pretty much it. That's kind of what I've seen as I've gotten older with most of my friends.
Have you ever had a friendship breakup?
I don't think your mom ever has had
Like
one.
I've
a
had
friendship breakup.
like very close friends that I don't have anymore, but that doesn't mean that I had like a breakup. We just stopped talking. Something got in the way.
No, mom's definitely had friendship breakups. I've been there with her for many of them. I remember when I was little, one friendship breakup being really hard was when she moved all of us, all of her kids, from private school to public school, which changed a lot of the dynamics of her friendships. Do you want to talk about that, Mom?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends from private school dropped me when we made that move. And it's not because I don't think they dropped me because we were no longer private school parents, although that did impact the situation. It was more that I was also pretty vocally against private schooling in New York. I had a lot of opinions, and it felt like an indictment of their choice.
Hmm.
So I do understand that, but it was very painful too because it was the right move for the kids, so I have no regrets over it. But I lost my entire social circle that I had built over 10, 11 years of being in that system. And I understand now why a lot of moms who know that the right thing to do is to move their kids but choose not to do it because the price that the mother pays directly is so heavy. You not
Mm.
only lose the system that you have, but you also like have to rebuild from scratch in the new place that you go to. You have to enter all these new worlds where people are already like locked into their own friendships and stuff. So it was very
But
that was
Zarna, are those people again now coming back? I see them, a lot of them in your
yeah,
shows
yeah.
now.
A lot of them come to my shows, and we're now friends after the full circle. I don't think any of them expected me to have the career that I have. At the time, it was just about the kids and their schooling. So a lot of them have now made a full circle and come back, but not everybody, and that's also okay. Like I believe that I had to do the right thing for the kids and for us. But they were really good friendships for many, many years. And, I guess I don't have a need for anybody to record my history, quote unquote. I don't really care if anybody watches what I do or not. I'm much more like, I'm going to do what's right for us and our family and keep going. And
Why don't we
then,
segue into actual relationships now? Because friendships, like, yeah, whatever, like, you can lose friends, you can gain friends. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion. I mean, Mom, you now have like very, very great work relationships, right? Those are great friendships, but they're not based in like the social aspect that you had before. I mean, even then, I think your case is a little bit different, Mom, because you don't drink or do any of the like activities that a lot of other people socialize over. So I
yeah,
think it's a little bit different, but I think we should move into relationships, like relationships, dating, marriage, fiance, whatever the stages are of a relationship, and
yeah.
how you deal with a breakup and what like all the different factoring emotions that go into it. Because I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to hear from Mom
So,
first
so
and
why
then
don't
kind
you
of go
start
down.
first, Brij? You just went through
Yeah.
one, right?
Okay, first of all, I'm gonna say this: breakups are extremely difficult because there's so many things that go into it outside of just the relationship. Like when you
Yeah.
break up, you're not just breaking up with that one person and that's the end. You're now your entire life is changing. Your social circles you change. The people you used to hang out with, to hang out with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you don't hang out with them anymore. In many cases, you're also breaking up with their family because their family got to know you pretty well. You're then additionally now you have to worry about like telling everybody you're single. Then when you're single, now everyone looks at you because all the things you do after that are different. Everyone's always asking you, how's it been? How's it been? Have you met anyone new? So now there's a lot of pressure on you to kind of meet somebody new because you're out of a relationship. And I think like a lot of things, a lot of people start telling you things the second you get out of a relationship that forces you into all of these weird situations that just makes it like 100 times harder. Whereas like the actual breaking up with that one person, it's just that's obviously extremely difficult, but that might not even be the hardest part. It's the logistics that are the hardest part. That how do
But
I do
Brij, what
this? What
about
is
the
this?
day-to-day companionship that you used to enjoy? What you didn't talk about that at all. Do
Because
you not miss
because
any of it?
obviously okay, obviously the day-to-day companionship is extremely difficult because you lose your best friend, you lose the person that you trust more than pretty much everybody in the world. So that's obviously very difficult. But what people don't bring to light as much is the logistics of why this can become so annoying. Because
Mhm.
obviously it's difficult to lose your partner and the person you really, really love. But the logistics are so frustrating. Like they're even more annoying. You have to go through 100 conversations of why you guys broke up. You have to start changing all your habits. All of what you consume media wise, a lot of what you'll consume, what you realize is because you're so happy in a relationship that the things you consume kind of enforce your happiness in a relationship or make you
That's
even closer in a
so
relationship. But when you go out of a
true.
relationship, now you all of a sudden lose all of that consumption and you don't want to see it because it hurts to see it. So now all of your patterns are changing with whatever you do. Your habits are changing because a lot of them were built around your partner. Everything just starts changing, right? And because everything's changing, you have to adapt to a completely new lifestyle. And not to mention, all of this is happening while you're in an extremely vulnerable emotional state because you just went through a breakup and it sucks.
Yeah.
So then what is the positive around it? Like, how would you deal with all of those things? What has worked for you?
I have to say,
Just
I just have to say, as a spectator, Brij, you have dealt with your breakup probably 1,000 times better than me. So I'm very curious
but
as to
Zoya, I
know.
think boys internalize feelings as well.
No, I think Brij has some sort of secret that I don't have.
I will say I definitely agree with dad. Like I think boys just internalize a lot more than girls because it's a lot easier for guys to kind of just like you'll put it in a box and lock the box away and then put it on a shelf and never and try your hardest not to look at that box. And I will say additionally that he asked me how I dealt with it. I think there's only one way, in my opinion, only one true way to deal with any sort of breakup. Do you want to take a guess what it is, mom?
I know what it is.
I will take a guess. If your mom
Okay,
can first,
go.
and then
No,
I will.
go, Shah. I have no idea.
Just stay busy.
To stay busy. It is
Oh.
truly the only way to deal with a breakup because eventually over time it's going to hurt sometimes, it's going to heal over time, whatever. But the only way to productively and not just lose yourself in stupid social situations, not lose yourself into alcohol or into somebody new or to rebound, whatever, is truly to keep yourself busy with work and actual work, work that makes you money, work that makes you busy, work that maybe makes you upset because of how boring it is, but true work and just doing that consistently can make it a lot easier because you're not you don't have time to think about your feelings or like how annoying it is that you broke up. End up doing all of that in your shower or whatever when you do have time. But otherwise, you're just working throughout the day. You're making connections, you're making money, you're moving forward your business, or you're working for a corporate company, you're putting in more hours. That's the only true way, in my opinion, to at least mitigate the damages of going through a breakup because everything else just exemplifies it.
I mean, but that, to be honest, is a cheat code of life. It's not just breakup, like being busy over not being busy always. And I'm so busy, and still I remind myself all the time that the days when I wasn't, I was begging and pleading for work.
Mm.
So that's a But what was your breakup story like, Soya? Well, you have so many.
I mean,
No, the more recent ones, where the
I
one.
didn't really have a breakup recently. I was in a situationship. Do you guys know what a situationship
No,
is?
describe it.
Yes,
Brij,
we
you
all.
want to describe it?
A situationship is that stage before you're officially in a relationship. So it's when you're just talking to the person and they're talking to you and you get flirty. Maybe you have made out with them or something, but that's pretty much it. It's nothing serious, not like extremely serious.
Or it's like there's some sort of like serious elements to it, but nobody wants to put a label on it. It's like just this vague entity situation. And it was the first time I liked somebody in a while, honestly. I haven't been in a serious relationship since I was a sophomore in college. So I haven't been in a serious relationship since I was like 20. And I was really excited about him. He actually really respected my work, which was nice. Most men I've met recently have either been very condescending about what I do or, will like try and make me feel small about what I do. And I get that. I like live a very big life and our
How
family is
Zoya? What would they do to exactly do that?
they'll just, make suggestions like they'll be like, "What do you do?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I work with my mom." And it's like, "What type of job is that?" It's just like not like kind words. This guy really understood what I was doing and really respected it. And he was really different than me. And most importantly, he was very, very religious in a religion that I wasn't familiar with. And essentially, it got to a point where we had been hanging out a lot. And because I'm on tour with mom, every time I would go back to the Bay, I would make time to see him. And I asked the question, like, what are we doing here? Because at this point, I'm really inconveniencing myself to like make this work. And he was like, I really like you, but like, I can't pursue anything further unless you're the same religion as me. And that was really hard,
So kind
honestly.
of implying that you would change your religion.
Not necessarily, but more so like he's more so like I'm also in a sticky position because I can't take that next step with you because it overtakes a rule that is very important in my life. Right? Like there are rules. Everybody comes into dating with rules. And there are some rules that are deal breaker rules. There are some rules that are like, okay, maybe we can make it work rules. And then there are some rules that like you realize, okay, that shouldn't have been a rule. I don't know why that was a rule in my life. And this was a deal breaker rule for him. For me, I grew up without like an explicit religion in my life. Like I definitely identify with the Hindu culture so much and I'm very grateful for all of its teachings. But it was the first time that that has ever happened to me. I didn't know that that could even be a thing, like, specifically religion being, like, an actual, like, separator of people, but it was, and I'm glad that I learned a lot from it. I think a lot of women in my position, or I'm really proud that I ended things, like, definitively instead of keeping it going, like, as friends in a situation. Even now, I have this, like, urge to just be like, "Oh, we can just keep being friends and keep dating and, like, whatever," but I know that there's no future there, and so, yeah.
Zoya, but this religion thing, even though it was not somewhat like India, but it's a very big thing in India, and it goes into caste and subcaste, and is often a reason on why men and women don't end up getting married despite liking each other. Now, I don't think we agree with it as a family, but in other words, we would not have said that he should be the same religion as you, right? As you know, we would have accepted him for his religion and not cared about it. But it can be a major source of contention between men and women almost all the time, everywhere in the world.
Yeah, I think I was surprised because I definitely grew up in a bubble in that way. Like, I grew up in New York City, and then I went to California, and both of those places are very, very liberal pockets of the world where people are very open-minded and, very diverse and come from so many backgrounds. I had never met somebody where that was, like, not even on the like, I just it was the first time. I didn't know how how deeply people believed in scripture, for example, and, like, how important that is to people. I learned so much, honestly, about, like, faith through this experience. It was a net positive in my life, but, definitely disappointing and, yeah. I think the
Well,
more
being
disappointing
that it
thing.
is recent, how are you dealing with it? How is it that
Well, I'm really excited because I don't think Brij did it for this reason, but the timing worked out so well that the day after it happened, Brij randomly walked into the door. I was watching some Alex Cooper, like, breakup boot camp episode. Honestly, I watched that episode. It was so good. I really recommend it to my women out here who are struggling. And I was literally listening to it, like, on the brink of tears. And then the door swung open and Brij was like, "Hey." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And it was, like, the best moment of my, like actually, that was, like, the best moment of this entire season for me because I couldn't have asked for a better distraction in my life. So we've been doing, like, all sorts of things. These boys have been keeping me so busy. I didn't even know I could be this busy in my life. We've been playing that game Imposter, on the App Store. We actually were in a restaurant yesterday and saw a bunch of kids also playing the game, so I guess it's really popular right now, and we played Risk, and we went for a walk with Dad. Dad, we went for a walk.
that was
That was
fun? Yeah.
fun. We talked about finance on
Yeah.
the walk.
Finance and your entrepreneurial expeditions, which are pretty awesome too.
Yeah, we talked
Mm.
about what's going right and wrong in terms of the deals I've been making, but,
So, would you say family helps in the case of a breakup?
oh
Just
my
being around
god,
family?
family is everything. Family
Because
was
I
everything.
do think that the people who have a strong grounding in their own families walk away from toxic situations a little more easily.
Yeah.
Whoever, like your
Although
I don't
mom,
none
your
know
of these
about
dad, your
two,
that.
siblings.
they were
Huh?
not in toxic relationships, Bridge or Zoya, right? Would you agree
I
with
mean,
that?
but the situation is not right for them. I don't
Mm.
mean the person is like an enemy of some kind, but the
Yeah,
situation is. I think it's easier to walk away when you're not completely alone and
I would say
true.
feeling
what
like
makes
you
it
have a.
better is when somebody else you're really close with is also going through a breakup. I
Yeah.
think that makes it a lot easier because then
I
you can
so
kind of find
agree.
solidarity within yourselves, like as a
But do you
duo.
think that that person who is going through a breakup could be influencing you in some way?
What?
Like if you have a friend who's breaking up with their
Mhm,
girlfriend, right?
mhm.
And now they're whispering in your ear, well, your girlfriend's no good either. Do you
That does
think
not happen.
they
I
could
would say
happen?
I've never seen that happen once.
Yes, it could
I
happen. It
really
could
don't. Maybe in
happen.
like India in the
Bridge, do you
1980s. I
stay
don't know.
friends with an ex?
Do I say friends
Oh,
with
this
an
is a
ex?
good question.
When
I
I
think
was
no
younger,
contact.
No contact.
when I was in like high school, yeah, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it then. Now that I'm in college, it's kind of just weird. It's also just generally weird to me to be very close with like somebody. Like it's very weird to me to be close with somebody of like best friends with somebody of the opposite gender, and I don't understand how you can be like not best friends with your ex, but also friends with your ex. Because why would you text your ex if you're not for a relationship or best friend reason? And at the same time, like, why would you text your ex because they're your ex? So it kind of doesn't make sense. It kind of just
And how
contradicts.
is it to watch her in another relationship thereafter, like on social media or
Not good. I mean, why would that be good?
no, but
Obviously,
do
it's
you
not
feel
good.
any? Do you feel anything at all, or you just don't
Yeah,
feel
I
anything?
feel very hurt. Like,
Mm.
I get a lot. I mean, I've also just been very hurt from the start about this whole experience of going through a breakup. So it's not like it. I mean, it's not as simple as just like, I don't know. You unfollow the person so you don't see any of that. That's the whole goal. Is like you. I feel like people think unfollowing somebody is so powerful because it shows that you're done with them. I don't think that's true at all. I think unfollowing somebody is the easy route because then you don't have to see them like every day or every other day, and then it becomes easy. You're kind of. We live in a world now where no matter what, you will see that person on social media every day, other day, every 3 days, whatever, especially in our families' lives because we're so public and everyone we date ends up being very public as a result of it. So because of that reason, like it can be really saddening to open your Instagram and then see that person as the top of your thing. And because of the way the algorithm works, your ex is going to be the person that first pops up with the story and the post because you end up clicking it so much to your relationship, obviously, that it's the first thing every time. So you kind
Ugh.
of just do everything in your power to stay away from it. I don't, it's just like the whole game of going through a breakup is really just a game of how much can I not think about this person? Like how
Wait.
long can I do?
Okay, I think we've gotta be honest here. I'm just gonna be really honest for a moment. Women do psycho things to keep tabs on their ex, right? Like, this is just a thing, I don't know if men do it too, but women do psycho things.
Tell
And
me,
one of
what?
the most psychotic things I did after a breakup, after I had blocked the person on everything, LinkedIn included, okay? LinkedIn included, I was so obsessed with knowing what this person was up to that I went to his GitHub and would see if he was
GitHub?
making I'll explain. I would go to his GitHub, which is a code repository, and I would see if he was committing code and writing lines of code, because then I could see if he was, like, busy or see what projects he was working with
What
or
the
see what
hell?
projects he was working on it with, like, who he
Did
was
you
working on
ever
it with.
unblock and reblock?
Oh, yeah, I blocked, I reblocked, I've always been super messy about all my breakups. Brij has been in that way, like because Brij always gave me breakup advice before he had ever gone through, like, a really serious breakup, and so I was really curious, like, as a sister to see how he would handle his own breakup and if he would take his own advice, and I have to say, every single piece of advice that he gave me, which was like, "You cannot contact them, you need to stay busy, you need to stay active, like, you need to focus on your work," like, all of those things that I was like, "Oh my god, you'll never understand, you've never been through an actual breakup," like, he's done all of those things, and it's been embarrassing almost for me because every breakup I've been in has been, like, a 3-month-long affair where I, like, become a new character altogether, and I'm just completely devastated, so I've definitely learned a lot from seeing Bridge handle with so much emotional
Actually,
maturity.
you know what's interesting, Mom, about your earlier point about family helping with breakups? I also remember now that after my breakup, I've been calling Veer a lot more
Yeah.
Yeah.
because,
Mm.
like, it's been a lot more helpful to, like, talk to somebody of your family when it's, like, not you're actually definitely right about that. It's a lot easier to go through a breakup when you have people, like family that you're very close with.
You've been
And
Zarna,
calling
what about
Vera
a
a
breakup?
lot. Yeah,
Zarna,
yeah.
what about a breakup with a blood relationship? You've had one such breakup
Me?
with a man that
You're
ultimately
talking about
passed, your
me?
father. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of
How
course.
was that? You broke up with him effectively, right? A blood relationship.
Yeah,
I mean, it's talked
I
about
was
in your book.
estranged from my dad. That's what
Mm,
he's talking about.
mm.
It was painful for the wrong reason. It was not painful because I missed him because he was never really a hands-on dad ever. And his presence in my life was mostly traumatic. But I had a lot of empathy for him till his very end because I was worried that he's left alone. Like he had created so much trauma around him for everybody, for all of us siblings, that in the end, nobody wanted to talk to him. Nobody wanted to deal with him. Even though my siblings did deal with him and talk to him, I absolutely did not. I could not. And he didn't want to deal with me either. But till the end, I was very sad that this is how it's going to go out. And it didn't have to be that way. It didn't have to be in a way that no one wants you to like. He was a really, really smart guy. He was a really, really hardworking, resourceful guy. There were so many good things about him. But he was adamant that life had to be his way or no way, which caused
Mhm.
all this trauma. And I was very sad and empathetic till the very end because I did think that he gave me a lot. Like he insisted I learn English. Insisted. That's why I learned English at a level where I can write a book and I can write jokes and take a stage. Even though we were fully estranged since I was almost 15 years old, his presence in my life is all over. So I was very sad about it, but for the different reasons. I don't even know what it would be like to have a parent who is there for you. So because I haven't had that most of my life. I left home at 15 and I never looked back. So I don't know what it would be like if I had a parent who would pick up my call when I called, or who would pay for a bus ticket when I needed it. I just don't even have an idea of what that would feel like. So I wasn't missing that, but I felt bad for him. I feel I have a lot of gratitude towards him for all the things that I got from him, including my work ethic, which my dad was working till his last day on earth. So I have a lot of empathy for him, and I that's what makes me sad.
It's pretty
Mm.
incredible that you have such a positive, you can say you are able to say so many positive things about him despite the
I don't
breakup.
blame. I know historically, I don't blame other people for my life. I've never done it. I don't do it now. If anything goes wrong, I try to figure out what can I do to bring it back on track. I was 15 years old when he said you need to get married or get out of the house, and I actually understood him. I did.
Mm.
It was his house that he worked really, really hard to build, and built out of poverty. He doesn't want somebody hanging around who's going to talk back to him that way. And I got it. I was just adamant that I was not going to give in because I didn't want that other life he was proposing. But when I see kids in America talking back to their parents and the parents just sitting there and taking it, I can't even fathom that.
Mm.
And I can't fathom that as a parent, and I couldn't fathom that as a kid either. I had to leave my house and I left. That is a fact of my life. I didn't sit there and like bang on doors and be like, I don't know where this Indian American difference is so big, because I have friends. I have friends, white friends, who will tell me that they're afraid to come out of their room because their kids are yelling at them always in their own house.
You mean grown up kids or
Grown, no, even teen kids, you didn't make my breakfast right, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Kids today can be really mean, just as parents can also be. I'm not saying parents can't be, but you can expect parents to be out of control, right? Because they're in a position of power, they have the money, they're controlling your life for a long time. But kids in America can be mean and like push back. I mean, Shalab, you have consulting cases
Mhm.
where parents call you, moms call you and say, I'm scared. My son is saying this, my daughter is saying that, and I
all the
feel
time,
trapped.
and especially women who cannot
Yeah.
let go of the motherly instinct, not realizing that she's essentially being abused by her grown kids. And
Wow, Dad, you're seeing
Yeah.
that?
yeah,
Yeah.
often, especially women who are single, recently been divorced, grown up kids, and she's latching on to them for companionship, and the kids are essentially abusing her, may not even be deliberately, but abusing her by staying in her home, not paying for the rent, or not working, making her cook, or making her watch their kids. I mean, that's basically abuse,
Oh
right?
my god. No, it is
Mm,
100%. That's
mm.
wild. I mean, I think in general there is an issue. I mean, if there's anything I've learned from our family or and the impact it seems to have on other people, there is an issue of just kids not treating their parents like human beings a little bit. Just generally.
But
So,
parents are responsible for it too, right? Like, I don't
yeah.
think that if the parent is strict with an adult kid and lay down the ground rules clearly, that after a certain point you have to be responsible for yourself financially. I think that puts the onus and the burden, and put what I call putting the kid out on the curb. This is what I say to my consulting clients, right? Put the kid out on the curb, because the sooner you do put the kid out on the curb, the sooner she will figure it out and become a grown person as a result of it. And it will serve you both well in the long run. Then it doesn't happen that way, right? Because then the person takes responsibility. I had a dentist client, she wanted to, and she stayed like within 20 miles, even though she left the home. But the parent would often call her back, then she would take care of them and their health issues. And it just never felt that she cut out the cord. And now she's 33 and single and extremely sort of lonely about not having met someone and so on and so forth. And all of it because the cord between the parent and the kid has not been cut.
Okay, wait. I'm going to ask you guys a really personal question,
Hmm.
and you don't have to answer it. But I'm
So
gonna
then don't ask.
no, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna
Good.
ask because I think it's beneficial, and I think it's very beneficial to families and kids. There have been so many times where I've been like, mom and dad are gonna break up. Like, I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna make it through this fight, or they're not gonna make it through this rough patch. And I know that marriage is incredibly hard. Like, it's you have to actually like defy the odds basically for a marriage to work because it's so exceptional, especially in America. And so I want to know, how do you guys stay the course and like stay together despite how hard moments have been?
Shared goals into the future is, I think, the single most important thing. Shared financial goals, shared goals for our kids, shared goals, and a need for each other to achieve those shared goals. But
Mm.
I'll let your mom answer the rest.
I think we're just too poor to break up.
What the heck?
I don't think we can afford it. I don't think
So if you
we can
could
have
afford it, you
two
would?
homes. I don't think we can have, it's listen, it takes it breakups cost a lot of money. Divorce
What are we
is
talking about right
expensive.
now? How much
Divorce
are we
has
talking?
bankrupted people. It's true.
Why
I'm
is
not
this where
making
you're
this,
going with this though?
but it's a fact. Like, we can choose not to talk about it. The reason people are like, oh, Hollywood stars break up and all these billionaires break, because they can. There are
I mean,
most
let's not say that. I mean, you can, if you so chose
no,
to.
we
Your
cannot.
personal
We do
income,
not
your
have
personal
the
life.
life. We do not have the life where we
If we
can.
did have the life, would you choose to break up?
That would be a different equation. I think if we had the life, I'll be honest with you. I wish we had like, now more and more women. I talk to women about this all the time. Not a breakup, because many of us like the spouses we're with, right? Your dad and I get along, we're friends, whatever. It would be nice to have our own home entirely, two separate homes entirely. This is a
What?
growing trend, and I'm seeing it more
I
and more
hate this
because,
trend.
huh?
Why
A
do you
lot
hate
of
this
my
trend?
a lot of my
I
friends'
hate that
parents
trend too.
a lot of my friends' parents also do that. I don't understand. Like they first
Yes,
of all, the kids absolutely hate this trend. Like
yes, of
absolutely
course
hate
they
this
do.
trend. Right. Okay,
What
well,
kids? The kids of the parents who do this?
of the kids of the parents who do this, like not separated but live in different home strategy. Because
Yeah.
first of all, it is essentially the same thing. At that point, you're only meeting your spouse when it comes to something related to money, and there's basically no other. You're not gonna live in two separate homes and then still go to dinner together. I mean, I don't even know if you guys go to dinner right now, but the point is that like it's just the same thing except like a little bit easier to do because it takes less work.
Yeah, and also it's less complicated because it's no contract involved. Like, it's not. I think this. Listen, people living together was a thing back in India, right? For example, how do couples survive? They go visit their families. There's a grandparent living at home. Their uncles and aunties. Two people living with each other every day, morning to night, facing each other. Every problem, you're hashing it out for years and years on end, and you're alone. I mean, parenting years were grueling years, and two of you are fighting every parenting fight on your own. Every Holi, every Diwali, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving. It is so incredibly isolating. Nobody can
Mm.
survive that. You're almost better off being alone and just doing whatever it is that you want to do at least half the time. But I understand why kids hate it. I get it. It feels like your parents have divorced. But the idea of a wholesome family that is together all the time was rooted in the idea that the mother will sacrifice her entire existence to make that home a home. She will
Hmm.
be there cooking, she will be there cleaning, she will make it all gorgeous and beautiful. The husband will go out, he will come home with the money, and that's all he had to do. And then the kids will like listen or not listen, but they will enjoy the benefits because the
I
mom is
disagree.
just supposed to give selflessly.
I feel
Today,
like
when women are working as much as they are, as much as I am, and I'm not the only one, the workforce is now majority women.
no one is
The
working as hard as you
I
though.
I don't know if it's majority women
No,
though.
no, no. The workforce
No
is
men
majority
or women are
women.
working as hard as you. But I think the one thing that I want to say, and I don't think you're bringing this up, if you truly, truly love the person you're with, you would want to live with them. Like it's not as simple as just you would want to be in separate homes and still be like in love, but just with
Yeah,
separate
but
homes. You would
that's why
want to
we're
live
not
with
getting
them.
divorced. Sometimes love needs distance. Sometimes you don't have to be in every, like, that's why I'm not saying we would get divorced. Listen, rich people do this by default. People who have the options anyway do that, right? They don't have separate homes, but they have 10 homes in 10 different
But
cities.
this is why they're unhappy, because they're never together. This is why these couples
No
like
one's
go
happy.
through all
So
these
let's just put a
problems.
pin on that. Like, no one's happy. Poor people not happy, rich
That's
people
not
not happy.
true. There are many people who live very happily with their wives and they have children. We have neighbors right now expecting their third child, and they're extremely happy.
Brij,
You don't really know that, Bridge. You can't know what goes on between what really goes on between a couple, right? Only the
but you
couple
know
knows
how
that.
many people think we are an ecstatically happy family and that we all get along all the
We
time?
are in an ecstatically happy How are we
That's
not
not
in an
entirely
ecstatically
true,
happy
Bridge. I mean, you
family?
just asked the question, your mother answered it, right? Your mom and I are kind of living a separated life in that sense, right? Already.
Are we not a happy family? Am I just missing
I mean,
something
yeah,
here?
I mean, I'm just saying that we have a happy family vis-a-vis a lot of different human emotions that we get to experience as parents, as dad, as siblings, and things of that nature. But your mom is not wrong that we do live kind of like you pointed that out in so many different podcasts, right? You have, Zoya has, even Veer has.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. I agree that you guys do live a very separated life.
Right.
I'm saying happiness is complicated. It's not that simple. And the thing is that if your idea of a happy family is something that existed 25 years ago or 20 years ago, you need to re examine it, because I promise you it was hinged upon the woman being the center of the family and giving up herself and her entire existence so the family could be happy.
Hmm.
And that reality no longer exists, not by choice and not even by circumstance. Most women today have to work. Taking a brief pause to tell you about our sponsor for today's episode, Monarch. Now, my favorite thing about Monarch is that it is an easy to use money management app. Set yourself up for financial success this year. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts, investments, net worth, future planning, everything together in one dashboard on your phone or on your laptop. Feel aware and in control of your finances this year and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code ZARNA. 50% off for the whole year with the code ZARNA. You have to try it out. Like, you can't run away from managing your finances. I know I'm like you. I don't want to see the receipt. I don't know how this credit card reads. I don't know how much balance I have. We have to stop that. We have to take control of our lives. And Monarch has made it so easy. I'm telling you, once you do it, you'll be addicted to it. I'm refreshing every day because I want to see where the money is coming and going. So again, what did we learn? Set yourself up for financial success in 2026 with Monarch. The all-in-one tool that makes proactive money management simple all year long. Use code ZARNA at monarch.com for half off your first year. You have nothing to lose. Half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code ZARNA. We're going to take one more second to tell you about our sponsor for today's episode, The Real Real. The best place to get authenticated luxury resale goods. You can buy luxury, you can sell luxury. I'm addicted to the Hangout because I just want to see what other people are buying and selling. And they refresh thousands of pieces every day. I don't know how they do it. 10,000 new pieces every day. You see, you're like, this bag is in, that bag is out. Now you can buy them on such good prices at The Real Real. And when you're done, you can sell it back. And so many people all over the world looking for the thing that you have. And so many people have the things that you need. Do not pay full retail for luxury. The Real Real is the most trusted name in authentic luxury resale with over 10,000 new arrivals daily. That is mind-boggling. No one does resale like The Real Real. And now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to realreal.com/Zarna. That's realreal.com/Zarna. Get your $25 off. Start shopping now. realreal.com/Zarna. And if you get addicted like I am, you're welcome.
Can I give you my almost
Yeah.
therapy take on
Yes.
this?
Yeah.
Mom,
Brett.
I think that I don't know what it's caused from. Maybe the trauma that your father gave you, or the fact that you grew up in such a defensive home and you had to do so many different things. You place all of your priority, not even just some, all of your priority on practicality and logic and never into your emotions. Like, whenever you have an emotion, you will throw it in the trash when it comes to practicality or logic. When it comes to wanting to do something because it's fun, if it's a little bit unsafe, you won't do it. When this comes to allowing other people to do stuff in your family when it could be fun, you never let it happen. When it comes to love, you would never give everything to that emotion, because if you did give everything to that emotion, it would make you vulnerable and you would never accept that. And then when it comes to, you do take extreme risks that you feel practical to you within business, but even then it's never because of an emotion, but it's more because of, you know, that this is a better chance to lead to money. But when it comes to like, you need to do this, you need to do this, and then you supplement all of this, you bottle up all of these feelings that you just never let yourself express, the number one internalizing like feeling thing ever. And it just leads to you becoming so attached to our family, which is such a great thing, because it's the only way that you really can express emotion. And that's kind of my take on like a lot of what I hear from you in podcasts.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow, Brij. Okay.
Damn.
That's almost therapist. That sounded like therapist, not almost therapist.
There may be some truth to it. Some, not
Mm.
all.
Mm.
There may be some truth to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I think we can go into good grades with Gargs now.
No, listen, there is truth to this, but also consider that the life that your dad and I have is an extremely high responsibility life, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Thanks.
it's in some ways not dissimilar to the criticism that CEOs get, where it's like all you do is worry about shareholder wealth. Well, he has the one job is to keep that company stable and create wealth for the people who invested in it. My job is to keep you guys safe, to keep you guys productive out into this world, and to keep all of us like out of trouble. That is my job. So, what comes across to you as paranoia is me taking my job extremely, extremely seriously. Now, I completely understand that I'm on one end of the spectrum because I don't like any unnecessary risk. We take so many necessary risks that anything unnecessary is gotta go, in my opinion. But you guys are growing up and you will make your own decisions. But I will tell you, and I will tell you this because both you and your sister are part of the tech world in some way. You look at venture funding, you look at all how those companies are grown. Let me tell you, any company that invests money in you will be even 10 times more observant of what you're doing and will have 10 times more restrictions on what you can do than I will ever have. So I prepared you for that. Like, ask your dad. When he was actively fundraising and when he was actively managing other people's money, how much were they controlling your life, Shalab?
Very much. But
Literally, there were days when he had to submit blood test results to make sure, to prove to his investors that he's not doing drugs, to prove to his investors that he's not like extremely unhealthy in a way that like they should be worried about their money.
that is
Yeah.
true.
I
That
think
is
I mean
true.
it more from just an emotional aspect of, I don't think that I think that you're just so defensive, you just cannot give yourself all to an emotion. I think it's just and it's not like anything you did wrong, or it's not because like life isn't, you have to do this, or life isn't work out this way. I think that's just like how it is. Like, you just like, could you ever, like, be honest with you, could you ever, because I know I can. I feel like Didi definitely could. And dad maybe could, I'm not sure. But could you ever just like fully fall in love with somebody to the point and where you would like sacrifice for them, you would make like extreme amount of time for them, maybe you even like just generally like you gave everything to that partner? Like, do you
I
feel
mean,
like you're,
Shalab, you want to answer that?
I don't know how to answer that. I
But
really
I
don't.
feel like I did that for
oh, you
22
did
years.
do that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I did do it for 22 years. I completely took his lead. I did 16 years, all I did from morning to night was take care of what he needs for his job, what he needs for what you three need. Like, I did do it. And
Yeah.
you know what? Like, thank God that I stopped doing it because life is not sustainable in one mode. And he's a good guy. We are all good people here. It's not that. It's just life is far more complicated than one person just saying, I'm in love and I will submit myself to you and you take care of it.
Yeah.
Life is so complicated that no one person can take care of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
do you
true.
not think, Shalab, all those years that your needs were taken care of, the whole description that he just gave?
It's absolutely the reason what I said that I don't want to answer it is because the obviousness of it. Absolutely, yes, that is exactly correct. And honestly, I truly regret those years. If I could change them, I would have said that to
But
you.
that's not fair, Shalab, to just say, I don't want to answer it because of the obviousness. Your son is asking a question. You have to answer it. He doesn't know the history. He was 5 years old. You don't remember, Brij, you will not remember the years, plural, that I flew to India with one kid, two kid, three kids by myself and lived with his parents for weeks just so you can have some grandparents in your life.
And to be fair, Brij, she insisted on that trip.
I
Wait, I
made
want
that
to make
happen.
this clear. I am not like attacking mom or calling her out or saying anything
No,
needs to
but
change.
those years today, all you're seeing is Zarna the businesswoman, right? But
Yeah.
surviving those years and see that did not pay off for me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say on this podcast, but those years of investing like that did not pay off for me. But it was actually a wake up call one day when your dad very clearly. I remember this conversation. I remember being woken up when your dad clearly said to me, "I thought I had done all these things, taken you guys to India, and their house and all of that." And your dad said to me, "I don't know what you think is gonna happen. They're never going to love you."
I don't remember saying something like
You
that.
said those words to me.
The kids
And
are never
because
going to
I
love you.
was frustrated, I was like, "We're doing this, we're doing that. We spent
No,
all
no,
this
no. She
money. We
wasn't talking
came
about the
here."
kids. She was talking about the in-laws or like the
The
extended
in-laws.
family.
Oh,
That
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
you were like, I said I couldn't understand why she's saying this and he's saying that and all of that. And you looked at me very clearly. You're like, "You're not related to them. They're never going to love you. They're always gonna be on my side."
Okay.
And
That's
Oh,
and
the
that
something we
was a
need to
in-laws
wake
do.
up
aren't
call
gonna
for
love you.
me. I was like, "What have I done for 20 years of my life? What am I doing?"
I'm very capable of saying that. What you,
Chasing
with
the
respect to the
impossible.
in-laws.
Like, so yes, am I capable? I feel like I've done it, but I've been screwed over. And I'll tell you, women getting screwed over in the name of giving up things for love is a consistent theme. All the successful entrepreneurs you see today,
Literally.
women entrepreneurs, literally, if you talk to them, the number one thing they will tell you is never give yourself up for love. We've all been burnt.
But it's so confining to say that because a lot of other women out there would also say I gave myself up for love and it was the best decision I've
Absolutely.
ever
And
made in my
I'm
life.
not advocating that anybody do it or
Yeah.
not. I'm telling you what my life is.
Yeah.
And I say I wish more men gave themselves up for love. Why not? I wish more men. I wish Zoya was out there telling some guy, "I can't be with you unless you become Hindu."
I know.
But
It's so
but
funny.
she would never do that, right?
I would never do
See,
that.
that guy didn't think twice before saying, "This is important to me." But I can't even imagine a single
I
girl.
don't think that there is any girl in the world, Zarna, that can love a man who she does not perceive as a leader and an alpha and a,
I think
you
that
know.
I think there are
So
very few finite amount of women, but I agree with Dad's point that he's making.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think Dad
So
actually makes
hence
a
to
good point.
say that I
Yeah.
wish, ultimately women want to be led, and
Okay, that's not what I
Well,
was
I mean,
implying. That's not what but I do agree with Dad's overall point that even Didi yourself, I mean, you talk all the time about you need somebody who's very, very strong, not just physically, but also business acumen wise, mentally, just
Yeah.
generally like he's a leader,
No,
maybe not
I
leading you, but
realized
is a leader.
I don't want to be alpha in my relationship.
right. So there
Whoa.
you go,
I
right?
don't. I want
And here you have a
That's crazy.
22-year-old Stanford graduate, daughter of Zarna Garg, probably the
I
most
hold
aggressive
on. I
feminist
am
woman.
very alpha. It's not that I'm not. Like I am very alpha, but it's like
But in your intimate
No, that's
relationship, you
so
don't want to be the
interesting.
alpha. Is that
no,
correct?
yeah, it's
What you said?
true. Like I feel like even through this
Wow.
experience with this guy, I learned that like there's so few moments I get where I get to relax in any way, like genuinely. And I feel
It
like
makes you the most alpha to be willing up to give up that alphaness to the man that you love. I get it.
I don't want it to be that whoever I'm with, I also need to be like extremely alpha in that situation too. I feel like that would be an
That's so
exhausting set of
interesting.
circumstances for me. Now, that's my hunch right now in my current moment in life, but that's how I feel. Yeah.
Mommy, you just like your facial reactions were crazy while she was saying that. Do you want to like say
what?
something?
What did I say? I'm listening
I
to
don't
what.
know.
No,
Did
in
did
response
that
to
not catch you
Zoya.
off? That caught me so off guard. Did that not catch you off guard?
Yeah, I mean,
That was like the top one most
It
surprising
did not
moment I
it
think
did
in that
not catch me
podcast
off
history.
guard at all.
it did
At
not catch
all?
you off guard.
No.
No.
Because you
I
think
think that's the nature
biologically
of
women.
strong women. I think it's the nature of strong women that they, that the moments that they allow a partner to be a part of their lives, that those moments they don't want to be, after having been alpha all day long in business, they would like to be able to, in my opinion, enjoy a moment in the evening or in the morning where they're not the alpha in the relationship and the guy would take care of every detail.
Yeah, but in my experience, you can have it all.
Yeah.
If you're alpha like 80% of the
You're
day,
gonna be
guess what? Like
not.
that's just me. That I don't know
I agree
because
with you, Mom.
I've had to do a full 180 in my life. So what do I know? But Brij, what is it like for you? Would you like to be with an alpha woman?
No.
Absolutely. I say
Yes.
this to men
He
all the
says it
time,
pretty openly.
and I say it very openly, and I always get criticism for it. Always. And no matter who I tell, it could be people older than me, your age, mom, it could be people my age, it could be whatever. I always get criticism for it because it doesn't make sense. But I would absolutely much rather be with a female entrepreneur alpha than be with like a girl that just like want to not do anything or kind of just want to be like something. That's not what I want out of my spouse or person that I'm dating
But
at
even
all.
if she commits to taking care of you and your home and all of that,
Absolutely not. I don't want somebody like that because in
no?
that case, she won't challenge me and she won't. You
But
need
she may.
somebody.
What if she's a really smart, intelligent woman that you respect, but chooses not to work? What about that?
If she chooses not to work, but she's super smart and intelligent, I guess that's one thing. But I would much rather prefer a girl that's like a female entrepreneur, that's somebody who started with her own business, somebody who's trying to make a name for herself. I would really prefer that. It's not like a deal breaker if she's not that, but that's just my preference. I would want somebody who's like that. And somebody that in my own thing, like kind of how do I put like you want somebody that consistently the person you surround yourself with makes it so clear who you become and what your habits become. And when you are with somebody you're dating, it's an awesome feeling if they're consistently doing something great every day and it motivates you to also do something great every day. And where you guys are pushing each other in the same direction in the same entrepreneurial challenge. And you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. You both wake up early some days or whatever, and you kind of just attack the same goal together. I would
But
love to do that.
then who I mean, you have also expressed this desire to have a family with kids and all of that. So who is going to be rooting that family in one place if everybody's out there running businesses?
I think you figure that out once you get there, but right now I'm not in like I don't have kids. I'm not planning on having kids
Mm.
in the next 2, 3 years, 4 years. So I think right now I'd want to be with somebody who wants to attack that and then maybe down the road to figure out how we can approach that problem.
Shalab, you've had both. You had my 15, 16, almost 20 years of me taking care of the house and all that. And now I'm just not there as much. What do you prefer?
Oh my God.
I mean, that's a very tough question to answer. But I will say this, that in the 26 years that we've been married, hard as it has been, it's also the happiest I've seen you the last few years.
Yeah, without a
And
doubt.
that it's been physically very demanding, and especially because I lost my job and I stopped making enough money, and all of that has made compounded the problem for you. But yet, despite all of that, it's the happiest I've seen you. You were definitely not happy in the six, even though you did it diligently and really, really well. But I certainly don't think I saw you as happy as I've seen you in the last few years. So, being that that is the case, I would hope that this is what you would do even those in those years.
Okay, anyway, this has been our episode on breakups, and it went in all directions as it usually does because you can't predict where which string leads to what story. We would love to hear from you guys on your breakup stories, especially like friends, relatives, in laws, parents. If you have those, even above romantic breakups, to be honest with you, we would love to hear those. You heard some of our stories, you heard the story of me and my dad. If you agree with how I feel, please feel free to say so in likes, comments, and shares with this episode. Share this episode with somebody you love who might want to hear the kind of things that we're talking about. We would love to hear more from you. As we end every episode with a round of good grades with Gargs, so too we're going to end this episode with a round of good grades with Gargs, where each Garg gives another Garg an A grade for the winning moment of the episode, the enlightening moment, the entertaining moment. So, who wants to go first?
I'm gonna give my A grade to Brij because he gave me the greatest situation breakup gift of all time by coming home at the exact time that he did. And I feel so lucky that he's here right now.
I'm going to give my A grade to Bridge as well. I mean, the monologues that he had in the podcast today, including the therapy one, were very enlightening. And I'm just reminded what a grown-up boy that he is. He's almost 20 years old and comes across as a very mature man. And whoever girl that you're with, Bridge, will be a lucky girl to have you, because sounds like you'll be a very supportive partner to her.
I'm gonna give my A grade to mom. I think that you just put in an extreme amount of work in every aspect of your life, no matter what you've been doing. And even if that means raising kids, even if that means having a family, even if that means dating dad to have a family, you've been putting in like as much work as you possibly can. And throughout it, have been as honest as possible with your intentions and practicality. And even though so much of it hasn't paid off, you continue to go through it year after year with all the bad investments, all the moments of like the in-laws hate me or whatever, you continue to do it year after year, knowing that fact that they're never gonna love you because it just shows that you just never give up. And I think that's like the most important trait that you have is your inability to be stopped.
Oh, I'm gonna tear up. Thank you, Brij. I will also give, I mean, it's a clean sweep for Brij today. I will also give my A grade to Brij. I think that you went through a breakup of your own and we barely heard about it.
Mm.
You just internalized. No, but I think he
And it was a
knows that,
long relationship. It was not like a
yeah,
1 month.
it was a strong relationship. And I think that you know that everybody at home is so overwhelmed in their own lives that you chose to lean on Veer, of all people. And Veer, by the way, is the wisest one. I do wish he was in today's episode because he may have had his own perspective, and we will do another episode catching his perspective. But you were smart to go to Veer because you knew that the three of us now are basically in survival mode. Your dad, me, and Zoya has added on to this family fight. And that's why you went to Veer. And the fact that Veer could reciprocate all the years that you were a big brother to him when he needed it, it is so heartwarming to watch as a parent. It feels I've taken so many losses in my life. It's actually incalculable how many things I've lost and how many losses I've taken. But if I can come out of this with the three of you being intact and friendly with each other and building together, that'll be the biggest victory I could ever have. As
Oh,
a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I actually am tearing up. Uh, we created this family podcast to launch a platform for you guys. When I travel on the road and I see comics who show up with one bag, they don't have to think about anything. They sleep in all day, they do two shows, one show, and then they go home. But I take it so seriously that this family needs to stay united. And I think I speak for millions of mothers who are obsessed with this because you guys are our biggest investments. The children are the mother's biggest investments. And we want to see you guys, not just for each other, even for us. It's a scary country to get old in, America. A very scary country. So the fact that you and Veer are leaning on each other, Zoya is finding comfort. This episode was a gift, and it's not even my birthday. But
mm.
we cannot wait to all our listeners and viewers. We cannot wait to hear your stories, the things that you're doing to keep your families together, including maybe as a family, you decide that you will need to walk away from a relative because that person is toxic to your family. We cannot wait to hear everything. I hope this episode has brought you a lot of love and joy and inspired you to get closer to your family. Until we meet again, everybody say bye.
Bye.